All right, our final video will show you how to work with envelopes and labels and then how to use the comment and track change features of the software when you're going to be using a document electronically and you want to give someone an electronic message about it. First of all, envelopes and mailings. Now, while we're still in the mail merge feature here, we'll just keep this letter open and show how the envelope and label feature works of it because it's similar to the process for the letter. You can also click on the envelope or label buttons here. I'm within the mailings tab if you want to manually type them in and then feed an envelope into the printer. So if I am going to now say, all right, I'd like to take the information for the people I'm sending this letter to, and I'd like to print envelopes rather than handwriting them. I can choose the envelope feature. The first thing it's going to ask me is, okay, what size envelope am I using? And this is just the standard business size envelope, but there are a lot of other sizes here to work with, and normally I would say most of the time you're working with that. Okay, in the printing options, this is basically so that it works properly with your printer, and most of them are set up so that you feed the envelope in face side up through a special tray. In the back of our room, if you pull the top tray down, you'll see where the envelope feature works. And so I click on OK, and let's see, it wants to delete this document. I'm not going to let it do that. I'm going to save it first so that I have it. And so I'll go ahead and just save it at this spot here. This is the data files. So I'm going to go back to my directory and save this in my computer apps folder where I also have the database or the names and addresses saved. All right, so if I come again and I'd say that I want to start with labels and I click on OK here, and it's saying it must delete, so I'm going to go ahead and let it do that. Okay, and just as with my envelope, I'm once again going to use an existing list, and I'm going to go ahead and choose, and it automatically goes to this data sources file, so I'll have to re-navigate back to where I saved the addresses from the previous exercise, the bank addresses. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the same file here for my bank customers. Okay, and now I'm going to merge the fields that I want, and if I want my last name to print as the return address, I can set that up. And this is also set up as normal, so I'm going to switch to no spacing. Okay, and then if I come here in my document, this is a space that it's assuming I want to insert my address in, and so I'll go back to my mailings tab now, and I'd say I'd like to put the address block here, and once again spelled out in this exact order. When I'm in preview results, I can see these two envelopes. Right now, if I would do the finish and merge and then go ahead and print, just as we did before, it will automatically, then I would just feed my envelopes into the printer and these envelopes would print out for me. So it's a pretty easy process. You're not going to do this as part of an assignment. I just wanted to show you. Same feature works if you have labels at home. You can choose the label feature, and here's where you choose the correct size, and once you do that, then you go and you select your recipients and put the address block where you want it to be and then go ahead and print them. So that is the the envelope and label piece. Now the next thing that we're going to do is, I think it closed, let's see, here we go. We're going to reopen this letter here, and we're going to pretend that more than just myself have access to it, so I am going to add some comments to it so that the next person who opens this knows a little bit about what's going on. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Properties, and I am going to add my name. This was unable to load, so I'll see if I can do it through Advanced. And I'm going to change the author here from user to myself, because then when I make some comments, it's going to show my name as part of this, which is going to be helpful. Or let's see, I think we would have been able to enter this some initials here too, so it might show my whole name. We'll see how this works since the document panel was unable to open as we're working with it. Let's try one more thing here. Let's go into the Word options here. There we go. And let's have you put your names here for a moment along with your initials, so that when you add comments, it will show this. If you're uncomfortable leaving your name here, you can go back and just change it to user when we're done. Okay, so let's say that we want to add a comment here. We highlight the word that we want to add a comment to, and we're going to go to the Review tab and select New Comment. And the Review tab will keep the order of how these various changes have been made. And notice right here now it has my initials, and I say whatever important message I need to say about this information. And I'm going to go down and make a comment about this statement here. I'm just going to add a few comments, and notice that now it says this is my second comment at this time, and I say that this is a nice number, and I'm going to come down here and student checking, let's see, important with colleges in town. Okay, so I've made some important changes and comments for the next person who sees this. And let's say I decide to make some other changes. I'm going to go back and just underline a couple of things. Here's I'm going through, and this is for the next thing I'm going to show you. So not only have I made some comments, I've also made some formatting changes. Now, the next person that would come and work with this, we're going to go into Word options here, and let's come out and we'll just put in, let's see, Jane Doe, oops, for name, and change the initials to JD. And let's say that this person came in and she also wanted to add some comments. And notice now it has the new initials, and it will, you know, whatever I'm going to say about this. I'm just going to add a couple. Okay, so now it's capturing her initials. It's because it kind of looks at the order that these were entered. That's why it's adjusting the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the various comments that I have. Okay, so I have all of these comments made now, and I'm curious, now I come back to this a little later, I'm wondering what went on with the changes that were made here, and I'm curious about this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Track Changes option, and I want to show the revisions in the balloons here. And let's see. There we go. So if I go to the last paragraph now and I make some changes here, it's now going to show that the information that I'm adding, because I'm in this with the balloons features turned on, it's adding this information in a manner that makes it stand out, so I can see the most recent changes when I turn that on. Okay, so I can show revisions in balloons. I can show all revisions inline, which means that it just highlights the various changes that have been made, or I can show only the comments and formatting. So I get to, you know, you can choose which of these you want to see, but it allows you to keep track of what's going on, and that's with the Track Changes feature of that. Now you may go through when if you were in the final edit of reviewing this, you might uh, start at the top of the document, and if you go to the next, it's going to go basically comment by comment by comment through it. And if you've read the comments and you no longer wanted them to be there, you could delete. You can delete all, or you can delete them one at a time to get rid of them, or if you make the change, the editing change here. So that's, remember, the comments will only be seen in the electronic copy as you're working with it. So you can go through and make your changes and accept, or just say that your when we go through all of these, then we can also accept and move to the next, meaning that information is fine, or we can reject, and that basically takes away whatever changes have been made as you're going with it. Now, sometimes you may want to compare or combine documents when you're working with them. Okay, what that allows you to do is, if we go to this compare option with this open, with the first option we're going to look at here is we can look at two versions of the document, and it's going to say, okay, what was the first document? And you'll have to browse to find the particular one that you want to work with, and I'll just choose this one. And then you want to compare it with, and we'll browse to get a second one here. And this in some respects isn't going to make a lot of sense, but it allows us basically to see those two documents, what we do, and because these were not related to each other, but we see the original document in one panel and the other original document in a different panel, and then it tries to combine the text from the two, which, like I say, for what I chose really doesn't make sense. But basically any text that isn't the same, it crosses through, which is going to be most of this because these were two separate documents. You would only do this if you had two similar documents that you were comparing as you were working with it. The next thing, however, is you ought to use the combine feature. I'm going to go back here and just open my bank document, and I'll put my cursor at a spot and I'll say, you know what, I'd like to take another document that I've prepared and I'd like to insert it at this point in the document. So if I do the combine here and I say let's see, I probably don't have, I'm gonna say I'd like this letter, and I'd like to find bank facts, and those are going to be different once again, so it's probably not going to work exactly how I wanted. But now I've got my facts here, and oh, that happened to be an envelope that I combined with. Very interesting. But I get to see the original documents here, and I get to see what it looks like when these two documents are put together. And then you can also see all the different things that were done in combining it. So it's kind of a fascinating process. This is going to work better for you when you do it as part of the assignments because the documents will be related to each other rather than these random changes or random ones that I've selected just to show you how the process works. So